clothes today. I just had to stop, grab some checks, grab the stuff, if you know what I mean. See if we still got some cups in this joint. We do. I think my mom provided these a long time ago. Some cups. Look really nice. So anyways, Angel reached out to me. And we've talked about this again, or before, friends. Excuse me. So, you guys can always throw in your 2 cents. Like I said, probably won't make it real. Patrick, how you doing? Glad you're here. Oh yeah, that city water tastes darn good. I can taste that fluoride. So anywho, grabbing the checks, grabbing the bills. It's like I don't know which one goes up further. It's always how it goes, though. So, Angel, I believe, he reached out to me. Hopefully this doesn't mess up the voice too bad. I'm doing great. Audio's good. Oh, man, appreciate that, Rob. That's always good to know because, man, there's nothing worse when you're talking and people are like, I can't hear you. And I'm like, darn it. And like I said, no lapel tonight, just kind of doing it free range. How we doing, boss? Doing good. Tristan, glad you're here. Got any questions, man? Great time to ask. I really didn't have a whole bunch of details to do for tonight on this video. Like I said, I was just here. I thought I'll jump on for a few minutes. If anybody's got questions, I'll answer them. Hey, Angel, he reached out to me with an email. It sounds like he got his LLC. I think he's 8 months in, if I remember the email correctly. He's 8 months in to his business. Congrats on that. He's asking how to get the word out. The thing is, there's never a perfect answer for this stuff. I wish I knew. I've done multiple businesses, and it's just one of those things. Like, you just got to saturate the market, right? Door hangers, brochures, Google, get Google reviews when everybody you're touching, interacting with, hardcore Google reviews. Get your name signed up, and all this stuff takes a lot of time. The older I get, anytime we have to touch something, every time we have to touch something, I'm like, it's not going to go like you think it's going to go. It's not going to be wham, bam, thank you, Sam. Unless it normally comes down to them, they're going to take your money. They'll take your money really fast. And then do they deliver on what they promise? Who knows, right? Facebook, my opinion, Facebook has really gone down. I think you have to spend money on Facebook to get anything promoted. Honestly, I was talking with the brother-in-law about this. And we were talking about like when you boost your, like a listing, like let's say you're selling like a vehicle or something. Even when you try to do a certain thing in there, an ad, it seems like the organic ones don't work like they used to. It's like they promote you once in a while, give you little crumbs, unless you're spending money with them. And then even if you spend money with them, it can be really loosey-goosey. Like they'll advertise you in another state. Who the heck wants to be advertised in another state? You're not going to another state to do a broken spring. So next door, I think we've talked about this. Lumber yards are really good. I think shirts, t-shirts and stuff like that. It can get pricey, but t-shirts are good. Sweaters, hoodies, things that, wear them, especially like when you go into like the lumber stores, because you just never know when you're standing in line checking out, somebody's going to walk up to you. Make sure the biggest thing is I truly still believe this day is you got to have business cards on you, because I had a transaction a couple days ago and the guy said, he goes, man, I ain't got my phone on me. And I said, that's all right. I grabbed my phone. I started punching his number in, right? And here's the thing. I punched his number in. I sent him a text. I just said, hey, this is me, blah, blah, blah. I never got a response from him. And I don't know. There wasn't a need for a response. We just wanted to have each other's number. And he never responded to me. And so I'm like, crap. Like, did I enter in the wrong number? And what I'm getting at is I should have also did that And I should have also gave him a business card. That way he's got something physical that I know is proven that's got the right correct number on it, no matter how, because you know, with phones you can type them in wrong. So it's just something to think about. Got bills to pay. Bills to pay and checks to cash. It's kind of weird, you know, when you think about it. I know there's a lot of you guys that are starting out that you're like, oh, I wish I had those kind of problems. You know, it'll come. It'll come with time. It does. It comes, and there's a lot of bills to pay. Lots of bills. It's kind of good. I'm kind of glad we haven't had a lot of cash customers. I kind of miss it, but I also kind of glad. This is our checks. We just got, not supposed to see that. Checks. Checks go in. What I like to do is I like to put them into an envelope of some sort. I prefer a vanilla envelope, but for some reason we don't have them. So I'm going to get on somebody to get on Amazon and get some. Because what I like to do is I'm a very date person. And of course, do I have my permanent marker on me like I should, like a good boy? Nope. I see there's a comment. Like I said, you guys got questions. Throw them on in here. I'm here for you. I won't be here forever, man. What's the date today? 4/24. I am gonna put in case something happens. The BOMB goes off. 2024. There we go. I think these were the emergency ones. These are confidential and personal. We don't really have that many, so I just write a date on there. $2,000 check. That's cool, man. The guys, the secretary, the ladies, everybody. It's a community. It's a community. They all do a great job. I can't. I just, like I said, so honored and blessed. Like I said, but it took a long time. Long time. Says this message is held for review. I think if I view it though, I think it shows up on your guys' end. You have to let me know. Let's see what it says. It's probably something not nice, right? So it's flashy. He says, "Hi, could I get a shout out for my birthday today? I also subscribe, please." Oh, well, flashy. Happy birthday! Thanks for becoming a subscriber. I don't know why it hid you, but that's what they did. So there you go. You're on. Now you just got to behave, right? We all have to have manners. What was that movie that the guy says? Manners, and he's got like an umbrella. Pretty good movie. I don't think I watched the whole thing through, and he can like beat the snot out of people. He's like an agent. Pretty cool movie. Should watch it again. Okie dokie, there we go, man. Like I said, you guys got questions, do it up. I'll anything. Okay, so Tristan's. I did that. How's it going, boss? Tristan. Let's see what's the guy here. It says, do you haul trailers with your vans? Yes, we do. Let's go take a look. I think the vans are 25s. I think we went to 35 even. Let me unlock this door. I think. Let me double check. Oh, I forgot it's getting dark out. Let's go take a look. I was just looking at one of the guys' vans sitting here. Oh, snap. Does this not say it on there? Maybe this one got taken off. I believe this one's a 3,500. I think everything we have for van-wise is 3,500. Let's see if the old GMC has it on there. So one thing to take in consideration is Cap. His van he takes home. Has this one got a badge on it? No, I'm pretty sure this one's a 3,500 too. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Badges are gone because of wraps. Why do I feel like I've seen it though? You think I would know, right? Bottom. I think it's just because I see them on the titles. But anyways, like this one here, this fan here, this is the GMC. I like this one. I like the front end of this one. I don't know if you can kind of see it with the light. I don't know. I like those headlights. They're real easy. I just like them. That one's got the smaller. I think that's got the 4.8. The 4.8's a good motor. It's a little bit underpowered, but it does a good job. It's 3,500, so it's geared good. This one, I believe this one's got the 5.3, this Chevy one. And that's a 3,500 too. But the beautiful thing, I know it's really hard to see, is this one's extended. It's like an extendo. It's probably got another foot or two on it. The guys really like it from what I hear. They can haul longer. The doors just fit in there better. Like 12 footers, I think they can shut the doors. Things of that nature. So I like that little bit extended van. I just got lucky with that van because it was a drywaller. And he ended up, I think he was like, I don't know. I think he was kind of hard up. Like he was hurting. And so he was selling it at like a kind of a discounted price. And it didn't have very many miles on it. I think it only had like 30,000 on it when we bought it. The other one I bought brand new. Then Caps, I think his had about 30 on it too. Now he drives that, it's a Ford. I'm sure his is an E352. The thing that was weird about these cutaway vans, I don't know the story. Maybe somebody can explain it to me one day or tell me the story. But I've had two of them now, and they don't come with hitches on the back. And we've put hitches on them, and I don't know if it's because the bodies on them are a little bit longer even yet. But they feel weird towing. I ain't gonna lie. So it's like I've been wanting to do, if we're gonna do another cutaway, I'd like to do a dually, just to see how it handles. But it gets a little bit like nobody really likes traveling a long ways with the cutaway vans. You know, just long distance. It makes you feel like you're light in the front end. Even though it doesn't really look like it, it's just something that's weird. Okay, I got would you rather? Okay, so Tristan, what do you got? It says, would you rather a double axle dump trailer and a Ford F-250 or a long van? Well, or dump trailer. I think I'm gonna stay. I'd probably say with the. Let's see. I say that maybe the F-250. Because you said, would you rather dump double trailer and a Ford F-250 or just a longer van? Okay, so a longer van. I just, like I said, man, I tell you, it's really weird. I wish Josh was on here. I don't even know what his handle name is, what he comes up as on YouTube. But I know Josh. He's a friend, and anyways, he bought a van. He bought a Ford Transit. I think it's a 2019. I think is what it was. Anyways, he bought a Ford Transit van. I don't know if that was because of my recommendation, but I've had, I think, about 3 of you guys so far that were like, dude, thank you for recommending a van. And like I said, it's a toss up, and your situation could be different. But I just can't express enough. The vans are just, trucks are way more expensive. They're priced because they're trucks. And like I said, if you're not pulling super, it's really tough. Like if I think of a Ford, or not a Ford, but just a truck that's a diesel, right? Like, are you a long haul hauler? Like, are you a hot shotter, basically? Probably not. And you don't want to be traveling, like I always recommend in the business. The farther you travel, the more liability there is. And that was just something that was really hard for me to understand, because I was just chasing, I was chasing jobs. I was new. I couldn't say no. And that's why I'm always telling you, like, hey, slow down, think about this, be logical. Don't worry about, your friends are getting a new boat and somebody just bought a house, somebody's getting married, and just slow down. Keep your steady income or whatever you're doing. Start doing a little side hustle, start building it and start building it. Try to stay as much as you can out of debt, unless it's going to be good debt. But you got to remember, everything you're touching is depreciating. The vehicles you buy, depreciate. The tools that you buy, depreciate. The trailers you buy, depreciate. If they're not being used regularly, the tires are sitting in the sun, rotting away. The paint's fading. The critters are getting in stuff. So, but anyways, I'm a big van person because, for one, they've gone up in price a lot. You can still buy older vans pretty cheap. You know what I mean? As far as they're easy to work on. They're 2-wheel drive. Unless you're just constantly dedicated to one contractor and he's always got you in sand and he's working on the lake shore or something, or a lake somewhere that you always got to drive into, majority of the time it's not. And then a couple times that you do, sure, man, maybe you got to huff it. You know what I mean? You just got to huff it, walk it in, you and another guy, bring help. So I'm a big, like I said, the dump trailer means, like, it's one of those things, like, they're kind of pricey. If you can get one that's like free or it's really cheap, I mean, I don't know what you're going to really accomplish with a dump trailer. I mean, for one, it's heavy. I mean, you'll probably get some friends, right? I think dump trailers, and I think, like, what is it? Not scissors, but car lifts, right? Car lifts, you gain a lot of friends. A pickup truck, you gain a lot of friends. Yeah. Hey, can you work on my car? Hey, can I put my car on your lift? Hey, can I use your dump trailer? So I've never really seen a reason for a dump trailer, besides, like, it was weird because, like, we used to have a scrap trailer. It was just a skinny little trailer I built, and we take it to the scrap. But then we found a company, because we deal with so much scrap metal. I was just looking at it today. It's got a bunch of fence stuff in there. It looks like it's almost full again. And they haul it for us. So like I said, I already got, like, another employee or 2 employees with their own truck, a company, right? And they'll give us the money that they scrap it, right? They don't charge us anything. So, I mean, if you search around, you can find that, or you could find somebody and you got the property and they'll take it and say, look, give me 10% of it or something, or maybe just don't even want it. There's just so many different ways that you just got to really expand your mind on things. Appreciate the likes. Appreciate the question. So like I said, if you got any more, throw them out. Or if I'm not quite answering it, don't be afraid, because obviously I just kind of, squirrel. Flashy says, thanks. Awesome, man. Thanks for being here. Tristan, dump truck. Sweet man. Dump truck, huh? Yeah, I just don't know. It just all depends on what the numbers are, what kind of, like, so, like, if you're talking about the dump truck, for one, like, what year is it? Is it a Ford? Is it a 7.3? Is it in good shape? I mean, you got to remember, anytime you get to these heavier trucks, they're expensive. I mean, I've spent a lot of weekends working on these bigger vehicles, and it's run into Harbor Freight, and they don't got the right tools. You got to order it. You got to take ball joints. Unless you got a super duper good mechanic and fair price, it all just kind of weighs out. Like I said, if you're going to diversify, if you're just like, well, I'm going to deliver mulch, maybe do that. But, like, to have a dump, like, for a service, I don't know how you put bins on it and all. Like, it just doesn't add up to me. It's like you need a service van, so you can put the ladder rack on there, which is really nice about them. See, the thing is with vans, what I've always loved is, like, you can put ladders and stuff up there with those racks that'll tip down, and then you're not putting garage doors up there, because typically on a truck, you're putting them on the ladder rack of some sort. And the problem is when you put a door up, and let's say here's the beam, you will damage the door if you're bending it, or if you don't have 2 people. Like, I'd run into it all the time. Like, see, I need options. I'd run into it all the time. It's like, I can do it, but I'm probably going to damage it. By the time I'm sliding it off, and you're trying to, if you got a 16-foot long door, man, that stuff does all kinds of crazy things. Sweet. What's up, Mr. Rob? Would you recommend a wrap on vehicle or lettering? I see you have wraps on yours, but don't they wear off and fade quicker? So ours have been really good. I think ours have been on for, well, let's see. We bought the one van, it was 2017. So 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. So we're at 5, 6, 7. We're at 7 years. And we haven't had any problems. I've seen where like the guys are getting in the trucks, they'll get wore out right there a little bit where their feet are going. The one van, kind of my fault. No, I'm sure we had to. It was a brand new van. But so we put a new ladder rack on it, right? But I probably bought the cheapest one at the time. And it started rusting. And the problem I had, which it would have happened if the car was painted or anything, but it started dripping, every time it was raining. It was putting like a stain on there. And me and Cap both kind of did it. One day, I think he tried to take the power washer to it. He nicked off a little layer, like the upper layer of the wrap. No big deal. And then I ended up I got the van in my possession for a while. So I really did I used calcium, like a calcium cleaner, like you use for like a toilet or something or whatever, your sinks. And I actually sprayed that on there, and that worked really good. And I used what I should have done though is I had two different kinds. I had CRM or something and another brand. The one worked, the one didn't. So I used that first, and that wasn't working. So I used one of those Mr. Clean magic erasers. Well, those things are abrasive, and I was sitting there. And I'm like, oh, this stuff's working great, and I was getting it off, but I also was kind of like sanding it, so like that spot's kind of not shiny anymore. So and then I finally got some other product I found around, and I used that, and that stuff worked like instant. I was like, this stuff is, so I kind of screwed myself. But no, the wraps, they've been really good. They've worked really good. It's kind of hard. So this is kind of how I think of it. We got a company around here, and they do, they're kind of a friend of mine through family, something, anyways, they do electrical, right? They're big electrical contractors. I mean, they're big. And, on their trucks, all they do is they got their name, just as their name with like a blue or something streak down it, a couple white lines, whatever, just on their doors. I honestly think for us, that's where we could be nowadays, because like I said, we're I don't want to be, I don't want to sound like big-headed or anything on this. I'm not trying to be disrespectful, rude or anything, but it's just, like I said, it's one of those things. 18 years, guys, 18 years. Some people can't even think of 5 years. 18 years we've been established, and so we're pretty ingrained into their community. I don't think the wraps have to, you know what I mean? Because I look at it, and when the cough syndrome was going around, everything got shut down. And those vehicles, I remember being at contractors, right? And we're working in these buildings that are just hundreds of thousands of square feet, right? And we're working like, a half a mile away from another contractor. And it's like, I remember pulling up there, and the builder, he's like, I'm not saying you can't be here, but I'm not. And he's like, but park that thing around the back. You know what I mean? So hopefully that never happens again. But if there was just something smaller for us, like on the door and that, and you had to go incognito, that might be a little nicer. Some people have made nice comments about them. Some people like them. The Resi seem like it. Commercial people really don't. They just seem like they just want their crap fixed. It's like you show up. The big thing is you got to wear your safety, your eye protection, your high vis, and like I said, it's the other thing is too, is you got to think about, like, if you get in an accident, they do a repair, a fender or something. Now you got to take it to the wrap guy. Is the wrap guy still in business? Does it match? Does it look faded? Does it not look, you know what I mean? Like, that was when I first got that van, and then at 300 miles, I had the alternator light come on because a mouse supposedly chewed a wire, which I thought, and then I was taking it to the dealership, and I literally had a guy slam on his brakes. I slammed on brakes. The guy behind me didn't make it. He smashed into me. And I mean, my first thing was like, oh my gosh. I was like, all I'm thinking is like, I bought a brand new van not to have problems. Like I'm so excited and so thrilled that I get to finally put a technician in here and he's going to enjoy this thing. He's going to have a nice clean ride. It's going to have air conditioning. Everything's going to work. It's brand. And I'm like, this thing is just like nothing but problems. Like as soon as I get it back from the wrap, we got an alternator light on. I have to take it to the dealership. Now I get rear-ended. Like I said, it was like the whole brand new shoe thing, And the first thing I thought was like, they hit the wrap. They hit the wrap. I'm gonna have to take it back. They hit the doors, the back doors. Luckily, the guy because I slammed on my brakes, he went under and hit the hitch. So he bent the hitch. It was a cheaper hitch, and the bumper was actually fine. I couldn't believe it. I mean, I was just like, he had a little Jetta. His car was all crunched up, the hood and everything. And I'm like, oh, his car wouldn't even move out of the intersection. It must have disabled it. And so I went and got a class 4 or whatever it is. I upgraded it to a bigger hitch just because the one that was on there, I was like, man, hitches are pretty strong. I'm surprised that thing bent that easy. So I'd rather be overkill than underkill. But no, the wraps for us have not faded. I think it's like one of those things, like maybe if you're starting out, maybe if you just want to be, but the problem is if you don't have a vehicle too that's dedicated, I wouldn't do it because it gets kind of blurry. There's personal and then there's business. You start taking that stuff to church. You got people walking up to you in your shorts, right, and your flip flops, and people, oh hey, and you're like, hey, look, man, hey, I'm on my personal time. You know what I mean? Now, if you like that, that's fine. Whatever. I didn't. You know what I mean? Because there was just, you're at the grocery store, you're putting your kids in, right? The kid's screaming, puking on your shoulder, whatever, a baby, and I got somebody, hey, you got, like, I ain't got nothing. Leave me alone. Dump trailer to be able to wrap crap in peace. To crap in peace. Yeah, maybe. That's right. Rob's got it right, man. He says the vans, like I said, man, the van. This is why the reason I bought a because I remember I was at a customer's. They weren't there. It was a summer home. And I'm all of 20 minutes, probably 30 minutes. Like, you got to go through the dunes and you got to go through a gate and then you got to go on the road and you got to go out a ways. And I remember I'm like there and all of a sudden, you know how it is, guys. It hits you. I'm like, oh man, this ain't good. And I remember I peeled off to one side of the property and I'm like, oh, there's a multi-million-dollar house sitting up there. I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing that. And I don't know if they got kids, they're splashing in a pool, whatever. I go to the other side, right? I look, there's another house up on a hill. I'm like, geez, we're surrounded. I'm like, what do I do? The house is all locked up. I'm just here doing a few things. I'm like, oh, so it was a hot summer day. I'm sitting in the back and I found a bucket and I'm like, I got to go to town. And luckily I brung the old teepee and I remember sitting there and I thought, this is not fun because you got to smell your own stuff, right? And sweat's just dripping down me. I'm tearing my shirt off. I'm back in the cutaway van, which is great because they got a slider. There's other contractors that are working, so somebody could come over the hill. And I remember that's why I bought a Milwaukee fan because I'm like, I'm not gonna sit here next time. I was like, I need a fan. And I had it a couple times where I've been up in scissor lifts, and it's like, man, one of those electric fans, the battery powered ones. I'm like, this would be really nice right now because I'm just dying. And that's just what kind of happens with a contractor, right? You're always trying to find things to make you work longer, in a sense, or work better, or help you, or in so many different ways. And but yes, the vans do work great for that. I think the vans are the best. Like I said, I've done trucks, no go. It's not too many people open up your doors, and normally you can lock your doors. Like if you're in a trailer, even, peekaboo, oh, whoa, I'm just sitting here reading the paper. Among Us is real life. Oh, it's real. Among Us is real. Awesome. Tristan, yeah, man. Damn, he says, you are right. It might not be the best truck for the job. Yeah, it's, like I said, it's not to discourage. You can do it. Like I said, it's just one of those things. Tristan, I don't think I know. How old are you? Because see, the thing is, like when you're, like, see, when I was younger, trucks didn't bother me. So I'd hoppy doopy doopy, I'd jump on the tailgate, and then it's like after you start doing it 2, 3, 5, 10 times a day, it gets old. You know what I mean? And you start realizing, oh God, the knees and stuff. The vans are nice. They normally got the platform, right? The step to get in. you got to run and grab parts, in and out, in and out. You're in the shelter. You know how many times I've been in storms and I'm working on something electrical and all of a sudden it just starts raining. I'm like, screw this. Jump into the van, and I mean, I can literally sit on a bucket, not doing my business, but I'll sit on a bucket, right? And I can sit right there. I can have the radio playing. I'm sitting there just doing my own thing. I can hop up in the front seat. I can turn the heat on. I can turn the AC on so I got some air blowing. The vans, man, just it's kind of like when you have kids, right? What's really nice about the vans, minivans? Well, there's a couple things. Yeah, they're not cool. They're not cool at all. You know what I mean? They're a minivan. But you know what's really nice? Sliding doors. Sliding doors on a minivan, because when you have kids, what do kids do with doors? Boom, right into the car next to it, or the wind catches it, right? Minivans, door slides open, door slides close. You don't have to worry about it, right? Another thing is, married, wife's next to you or whatever, the kid starts messing up, they can walk through the total, right? They can walk, or they can crouch down and they can get back there. Same thing with a van. I've had it where it's downpouring. I'm like, screw this, man. I walk right through the back. I go in the back. I start getting my tools or stuff ready. You know what I mean? It just, you got so many more options. It's just, or you're at a job. I don't know how many times this has happened. This has been like a million times for me, right? You always got stuff planned. Oh, this is going to go, this is going to go, this is going to go, this is going to be perfect. And you get to like the last couple jobs or whatever it is, and you're just like, screw this, dude. It's 7:00 at night. Just throw the crap in there. Let's go. I'll worry about it tomorrow. Tomorrow we don't have so many service calls. I'm tired. I'm sweaty. I'm irritated. And you throw it in there and you just go cooking down the road. There's no strapping. There's no tarping. There's no bungee it. There's no driving halfway kind of like, oh man, all I want is a shower and a water or a beer or whatever is your flavor. And, whoa, what was that? Oh, that was the ladder. What? I just bought that ladder. It was $230. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've had it happen. You know what I mean? I've had a truck, the F-250. I think it was F-250. I couldn't keep stuff in that thing. It always fall out. I strapped the cardboard down. I lost 2 or 3 ladders in the thing. There's stuff always moving, right? Shifting around or something. Semi come past you or you pass a semi, whatever. Something, you're always looking at the rearview mirror. In a van, it's a capsule. You're safe. It's like throw it in, shut the doors, baby. This thing was manufactured, with latches and doors and no windows. So we just go. Do 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 do. Yeah, man. You're right. Says, what's Tyson got? Does any particular software you use for your bookkeeping? Yes, we use basically QuickBooks and Jobber. Those are our two main, QuickBooks and Jobber. They seem to work out really good. It's like there hasn't been any fuss about changing it. We use Ring Central for our phones. They work really good. Everything can be done remotely. Nobody even really has to be here. You know what I mean? Especially like secretaries and stuff. So it works out really good. I see Ben jumped in for a minute. He sent me an email. Hey, Ben's actually here. I see you, Ben. I seen your email. No problem, man. Like I said, Ben, if you got any questions more about that, and if you want to chat, I won't disclose a ton, but I'll try to help you out. Like I said, because there was some stuff. The one was obviously, are you going to stay in the business? Are you going to keep working for the company? That was kind of one of the first ones that came to mind. Because obviously, if you're gonna sell, or you're just gonna be out, what are you gonna do? Just curious. Is it gonna be like you're gonna sell shoes? You gonna, start paving roads? You just done? You're gonna sit on the beach? Can't blame them. Okay, any particular software? Tristan, do you hate it when you see your guys watching shorts or TikToks? That's a good one. That's a good one. So it's kind of weird because we've kind of done like a whole 180, because I did frown on it for a long time. Especially the hard one was always with the secretaries. I had one. She no longer works for me, and I'd realized like she was kind of like always posting things like here, and it always made me like. But the problem was I didn't look too hard on it because the thing is like my thing is like is if you do your job, like if you're not causing a ripple, I can kind of look past that. You know what I mean? It's kind of like to me, it's like, should you allow them to like listen to radios in the trucks? Should you allow them to listen to radios on the job site? It just becomes down to like really is like you got to have, and I think that's why it's so important just to have good, genuine people because when it comes to this kind of business, man, it's a huge trust thing. And I mean, I've had a lot of people that have taken advantage of the business, that have abused the business, have stole from business. It's a very, and that's why I'm always trying to kind of portray to you guys about like, you might want, So I was just listening to a guy, and he was telling me the reason he got into what business he got into was basically because he didn't want to have accounts receivable, basically. And I thought I can kind of agree with that because it's amazing when you like for us we do commercial and stuff like that, and it burns me sometimes. I understand that's just the way it is, but when you start thinking about it and you go, these contractors or whoever, commercial accounts and that, they get 30, 60, 90 days to pay you. So really, think about it. I mean, like, they're putting 30 days onto a product that you installed that you're not being paid for. And you don't know in 30 days what the gas prices are going to be. You don't know in 30 days if we're going to be in a WAR. You don't know if the stock market's going to crash. So it's like money that you're investing, but the money when it comes back is almost worth less, if that makes sense. Does that make sense? So if you got somebody that's got 90 days, and then let's say towards that end of that 90 days, they get 80 days in, and they're like, this door that you installed, it's just a little bit noisy. And you're like, I don't care. Go fly a kite. Like, pay your bill. And maybe I'll come look at it. And they're like, no. Like, here, we're thinking, like, you need to come out and look at this right now. Because if you don't, we can't. I can't submit this. I can't give this approval to be paid. So that's some of the stuff where, I'm kind of like, you might, can it be done? Absolutely. It has been done. But is it? Look how many I got. Look at all the white hairs. Pretty software used for bookkeeping. Dude, when you see short TikToks. Tristan says, can I franchise over here in Canada? That'd be cool. I did have a guy, is it Wilberg? I don't know if Wilberg's on here. I feel kind of bad because he needs a gate operator. And if you don't know, like, especially our one vendor, if you don't know exactly kind of how to do it and understand their protocol, it's really hard to get numbers and stuff and everything put together. And so I try to recommend him to contact them, and he's in another state. And I'm like, oh man, he's going to be like, screw this place. And that's why I try to tell him, it's like, take this with a grain of salt. And I don't know if he just needs numbers right now. I almost felt like if I was a little bit like less busy, I was like, I'll do the numbers for him, like at least give him some preliminary numbers. But my numbers are probably off because it used to be with gates and gate operators. It was always like $5,000, $5,000 for the gate in a nutshell, and $5,000 for the operator. Now it's probably around more like 6 or 8 per, you know what I mean? Because inflation has really just climbed. Look at Ben. He says, let's blow up man's like button and get the numbers up. Appreciate it. We're up to 7. Appreciate it. It says a clean garage springs with brake clean. My boss says it's getting pretty expensive. I clean garage springs with brake clean. I've never heard of it. I don't know. It's getting pretty expensive. I don't know what that's exactly like. If you're cleaning garage door springs, it might be off a little bit. You know how it is. Stuff, you're kind of, if you're over in the old Canada, stuff kind of translates a little different sometimes. That's a long ways away for the old computer system, or it could be, it's obviously probably me. And I'll keep updated about the van. Pretty sure I'm not doing that dually anymore. Yeah, I think you're probably, Tristan, I think you're probably on the right path. I wouldn't try to steer you wrong. I just, man, like I said, if you can get, see, even I'm a little bit nervous because I think I'm hearing rumors that the vans, the two that we got, the Chevys right now, the year that they are, I'm starting to hear whatever transmission, I'm hearing like the torque converters go out. Possibly at 100-ish thousand. I don't know. I haven't done a severe. I'm gonna call a couple of transmission shops around here and see what their word is on it. But see, the thing is, it seems like 2007, that was when things changed a lot. Emissions, and this isn't for everything because obviously like the 6-liter Ford Power Stroke was not a good. That truck had a lot of problems. You have to have deep pockets. But what I'm trying to say is if you can get something from like, I don't know, I try to stay with a little bit newer modern style. So like maybe 2005 to 2007, somewhere in there. I don't know when they changed the body. If you could find like a nice, Chevy Express van, I would be pretty happy. I've had really good luck with the Chevy Express vans. A lot of high mileage ones. The motors just do not die. Transmissions, they're pretty good if you maintain them. But it just seemed like those years, I bought something like I bought one at auction with like 300,000. We still drove it. The only reason we just kind of got rid of it was so rusty. It seems like, for us, obviously around here in Michigan, I'm sure you probably have the same problem is rust. So if you can find one that's rust free, I don't really care so much about the miles. Yeah, I mean, it's got 600,000 miles on it. Maybe, I'd steer away. But if it's got 200 on it, and you're not, if you're just starting out and stuff like that, go for it. Ford had some years of spitting out spark plugs, and they had timing or cam phasers rattling with the dual chains or whatever on them. So those are kind of, a little bit, but the Chevys are just hard to kill when it comes to vans. And, you just, when it comes down to business, I mean, it's all about keeping that thing running, right? The next day, because you promise somebody you need the darn thing to start. You need it to not be rattling and exploding on you or be in the shop, especially when you bought it for $2,000, $4,000, $6,000, whatever it is. You gotta, you know what I mean? Like you gotta, like when I had that Power Stroke, I mean, it was in the shop so much. And the worst part was, I'm like, I'm paying insurance on this. I gotta pay full coverage insurance. I gotta make a truck payment on this thing. And now it's in the shop and I had to dump, I think around like $6,000 or $8,000 for head gaskets on the thing. And then the truck was down for a month and a week. That was horrible. I'm driving like a 1987 rusted out plow truck around for service calls. I'm so embarrassed. I'm parking around the corner. People are like, how'd you get here? I'm like, oh, I was working next door. So I just walked over here. I need to exercise. And they're like, oh, okay. Because I'm doing like a detail. And I'm like embarrassed. Like if I show up in this old beat up truck that my wife literally rolled the paint on, right? Because it's just a plow truck. And I just wanted it to be all one color because when I bought it, it was all mismatched, from body work from somebody else. I got a lot of compliments on that truck. It was kind of weird. I'd go to like scrap yards and stuff. People are like, man, nice truck. I'm like, this ain't no nice truck. I'm like, this thing is full of Bondo. and it had great stuff. And then I smeared fiberglass over like the rockers to make everything look like, symmetrical. And people are like, man, it's a nice truck. I'm like, it ain't no nice truck. It's rotted out. But it runs and it goes. That's that one. If you ever go back into my videos, you'll see, I think there's one me talking about it with the Chevy. I had the Chevy down in the hole when we had the van stuck. That was the truck. I was trying to pull one of the service vehicles out. Man, I'll keep updated. Jobber is great. Tell them affordable door and gate referral. You guys will both get free months. That's cool. Maybe. That'd be cool. They probably do stuff like that. The dually is for dropping panties. What? I just sent another email about the details. Oh, perfect. Awesome, man. I'm here. Is it Wilbur? Is it Wilbur? I think you said it what it was. I'm horrible with names and all that stuff. Like I said, I really just need to document all this stuff. I'm here. So Wilbur, was I able to help at all? Did you end up calling? I don't know if you called. It's Stevens Pipe. I was talking to the one secretary today, and I mentioned it, and she said, I asked if I said, is John and Aubrey and Dan still there? She said yes. She says, but I can never. She says they're really hard to get a hold of, and I knew that was going to happen to some degree because they sell this stuff all over the place. And the problem that they run into is they turn into, they sell the stuff. And so, and I'm not saying this is wrong, and I understand people do this, and I probably would do it too. But what'll happen is they sell this product, right? So then something's not working right. So they automatically go back to who sold it to them instead of calling, the manufacturer. Now, don't get me wrong, it might be quicker, but it might not be. It might be why they're getting congested in a sense, because they're dealing with people that call and go, hey, something's not working right, or I don't understand this, or I don't understand how to set this up. And they're on the phone. I go in there, they're on the phone all the time. And so they're tied up, with products that they've sold. But the thing is they know that because they've lived it. They've been into it so many years. They know the products very well. They're very smart people. But if I had more time on my hand, I'd probably try to help them out. So that's cool, man. Thanks, Ben, for the email. I love it. Do you hire people if they have no high school education? I don't see why not. High school education don't really, I barely made it, So high school really doesn't. It's more about, I really want to, I look at it now, I want to hire on attitude, performance, personality, maybe some referrals, because the biggest thing is, were you known for stealing? Were you known for taking shortcuts? Were you known for this or that? And there's certain things which really stinks. Some people, it's kind of against the law. They can't tell you this stuff. Some will. I might have told a few things. So, because I think that's the way it should be, right? They should know if something is, somebody's doing them wrong or whatever, and I don't go into maybe super details, but I'll, like I said, if somebody's a good person, they're a good person, man. I'll praise them all day long. If they do bad things, nope, can't say much about that, and it's not that if somebody makes a mistake or they have a little hiccup, but I've had people that it's 3, 4, 6, 12 things that they've done that it's all right, it's time for you to go, and and obviously don't send no referrals my way. I almost got one today at E350 for 2007 for 4,000. Nice. Like I said, I'd have to look them up, but you got to remember that. And I kind of get the feeling, Tristan, that you may be a Ford guy, and that's fine. Whatever. I look at it. I've been doing business so long, I could give a rat's hiney about what it is. It's just whatever's not going to be in the shop. That's my biggest thing, because when it's in the shop, my workers aren't working. I'm not working. It's costing me money and it's costing me downtime. That's the biggest thing, because now you got customers, you got contractors. It's not reliable. And at least here in the States, at least in my general area, I would say we got probably a lot of Chevy heads is what I would guess. Not that they can't work on Fords or anything like that, but it's I can bring a Chevy Express van into anywhere, and I don't expect anybody to go, what is this? We don't work on these. Now, if I brought a Dodge, there might be a few mechanics around here that'd be we're not really into the Dodges. We don't have the software to update or do this or do that. But it'd probably be Chevy, Ford, and Dodge would be kind of the list. But I just know with Ford, the problem was there were some years that they spit out spark plugs. So that's not cool. I had one that spit out a spark plug. I think that was a 2000. I think that was a 2001. But I feel like there's like a 3 valve and there's a 4 valve or something that they did. I forget, or 2 valve or 3 valve, right? Those were known for timing chain issues. I mean, the overhead, it's hard to beat a push rod V8. You know what I mean? It's just hard to beat them, especially when you kind of get with those older ones. So I still really like the Chevy Express vans. If you can find one with minimum of 2,500, if you can get a 3,500, sweet. I don't think they're as common as the 25s, but if you can get something in that year, like 2007 or older, 2006, 2005, 2000, and it's in decent shape and it's good stuff. You know, knock on wood, we've had pretty good luck with I think Caps is a 2000. Oh crap, I can't remember if his a 13. He's got a Ford, but that one does make me leery of cam phasers and stuff like that. But for us, what's been a great thing that that we've done is we don't travel. We don't travel as far as we used to. And so our vehicles are lasting longer, our equipment, our tires, our trailers. We don't travel that, hour to one location, one way, or an hour and a half or 2 hours. Most of our stuff's a 20, maybe a 45-minute drive. And so that's helped tremendously. So I cannot stress enough why you want to saturate your market, why you got to kind of think about your market. Like, are you just swamped with it? Do you have, how many people do you have in your city? Demographic, if you only got like 5,000 or something, yeah, man, you're gonna be traveling a long ways, and depending on where you're at, a lot of people, sometimes you get in rural areas, they fix their stuff, like farmers and stuff, they're smart people, they'll fix their own stuff. So so you might have to travel farther to go find those builders. You might have to travel farther to go find those gates or fencing and stuff like that. Or maybe you need to start catering to, maybe put in doggy fences. I mean, I'm kind of playing around here a little bit, but I'm just saying like something residential, whatever your market. Oh man, I seen that right away. I seen Mr. Sky. That's right. Cheers. Thank you. I have to get a refill. Get some of that city water. It's got a little funny taste to it. All right. Why does garage doors sometimes shift completely to one side when the door is open? So this is a great question. And I'm sure there's other guys that could answer this probably better. I feel like we've talked about this a little bit, but in my theory, there's a couple things. Where the drums are, they could be shifted over, so that it's pulling it to some degree. A lot of stuff, I didn't know this, but a lot of stuff is based off the track. So first thing I'd probably do is I'd get a laser that'll level and stabilize. If it was just me, I'm just lazy. I'm sure you could do it with a string, you could do it with a level and a piece of angle or something that's true. But find out where that track's at. That track, if one side's up, because sometimes people slam them to the ground. I used to, and it could be crooked and it'll shift the door. That track is really important. So I think a lot of it comes down into the track. I've heard bottom brackets being off where the cables are hooked. Like when you hook your bottom brackets, if they're not, I have to jump on the battery for a minute. Sorry about that. But cables, bottom brackets, I've seen that heard guys talking about that. There could be a lot of little variables, but I'd check the track, check the bottom brackets, check your drums. Sometimes you kind of got to like molester. I don't know how to say it. Like you got to play with the door and get it to, do what you want it to do. You know what I mean? You got to get the track figured out. You got to shift things certain ways. It can be tricky. It really can be, because then you got to tear stuff kind of apart. So it's basically like a weekend project, and play around with it. So Tristan's got, okay, so he had a GMC Sierra 89, gold and black. It was a granny. Why is this? I don't know why that's on there. Yes, Wilbur here. He says, I did not call yet. Planning tomorrow. So Wilbur, just make sure, like when I don't know how much they're gonna they're gonna help you. Like, I mean, just go into it with just basically have some time. You know what I mean? To play around on the phone. It might just be a one off and they'll say, I'll have somebody contact you. And you might have to contact them a few times. But if it was me, I would try to what happens is when you call there, I would just say right away, say, hey, is Audrey in? And there's, I don't know how many's in the office. There's probably three, four, five, six, somewhere between like 10 and 15 people in the office. And hopefully you'll get to Aubrey, and I would just, you might go right to voicemail and just, mention, just give her a brief, whatever, and what you're looking for. And she's probably about the most helpful. She can either get you set up with an account, because they're going to probably want to do that, unless you're like, hey, can I just pay up front? You know how that goes. If you do that, then they're going to want the credit. They're going to want all the paperwork filled out. It's going to be a long process. But if it's something that they give you a price, and you, say, hey, look, I'll just pay for it in all, or, in full. I don't think they do like really like half or anything, because the thing is, most of that stuff, and what's nice about them is those, you tell them, do you want post? They're going to ask you what color. Do you want black post, or you want galvanized post? They'll give you like 6 foot tall post, and they'll package everything. And the things that's really great about Aubrey is she's is it Audrey? Audrey. I'm sorry, I'm saying it wrong. Not Aubrey. It's Audrey with a D. Audrey. She can actually they know the product. So if you just kind of tell them what you're trying to do, like when I looked at your job, like for me, you got it to be probably UL 325 compliant. You're gonna need edges on both sides of it. You're gonna probably want to shoot maybe a photo eye across. But if you just kind of tell her, say, I'm just looking for something kind of robust, or if you wanted to, I don't know if you really should throw me in there, but you could just tell her, like, just what would Dave want with affordable door and gate? You know what I mean? Like, and she might kind of click with that. She might not. She's kind of, she's a great lady. They're in their little world there. They're great people, but like I said, they're busy. She knows her stuff really good though. But if you explain to her, say, look, it's a bus garage, she's very smart. She'll kind of go, okay, so you need this. Like, I don't know if you're gonna need loops, if you need loop detectors. So like for that job, I'd probably do a loop on the inside. I'd do a loop on the outside as a reverse for a safety in case a bus stops midway. I'd do, I think they've been on to the EMX, photo eyes. It's expensive, but if you're getting snow and stuff like that, they sell a box, but it's expensive. It's like $400 or $500 for this box, and it bolts to the ground, but it keeps your photo eye protected from the elements, and it works phenomenal. So I mean, like, if anything, you might even just ask for it. And it's something too, if you get it, you can always either just email it to me or take a picture of it, and I can scan through it too and kind of tell you, what you might be missing here. Don't forget, like you're going to need some wire, like you're going to need some loop sealant. There's all these little things that start adding up, and all this stuff is all $20 a piece, sometimes $20 to $200 a piece, and it can add up real quick. So, I mean, right when I looked at your job, depending on if the gate doesn't need any rollers, it rolls halfway decent. I bet you could be climbing anywhere from $8,000 to $10,000, with a gate operator. And that's not including getting high voltage there. It depends on how much, you got, a front edge, you got a back edge, you got a photo eye, you got a saw cut across to get the wires to the photo eye, or you're going to use a reflector. And the reflectors, I do bigger reflectors. I got some videos on them. What's up? Cheers. That's right. Marlon tension wires. Oh, I started hunting for that 2005, 2000 Chevy Express. Like I said, keep a look for it. Like I said, it might work out. That's what I would just stick with. I just don't know. My brother-in-law is really smart at the Chevys. He's a big Chevy guy. But we were having a conversation not too long ago, and he was telling me, he goes, I think he had a 2017-ish, 16, Chevy Suburban. Or Denali, I can't remember. It was decked out. It was a nice truck, or SUV. And he's like, yeah, he's like, I got rid of it because they're known for the problems. Well, I think it was the guy had it for another 30,000 or something. Well, they called him up, transmission went poopy in it, and so like I said, I just know it seems like 2007 things really changed a lot. You know, the diesels and they came out with all that. Some of that stuff started coming out with emissions. You know, for was it AMF, automatic fuel management or something like that, or just some of that stuff. And it didn't really hit the big vehicles so much. All the trucks, the big trucks and the big vans, 2500s and up. But like I said, I'm a little bit leery about these. I forget. I think there's 6L90s, 6L80s transmissions right now. So I just feel like if you could kind of stick with those older ones and find one, that's been hopefully maintained of somewhat and it's got a good, decent body on it. Like I said, for me, the biggest thing always was rust. Rust is just such a pain to chase, or take it in and get body work, and it just adds up so much. What's up, Justin? Says howdy. It's good to see you. Do you, so Tristan, do you ever get stuck in the snow with those? Not really, because what I've learned over the years is the school of hard knocks. Get some tires on that thing. You know what I mean? So if you're really concerned and it was like mine, I'd probably run, if it was my personal one, because I just do, like when you're the owner and stuff like that, you do a lot more extreme stuff, right? Most workers and that are gonna look at something going, I'm not driving in there because I'm gonna get stuck and I want to go home in 2 hours. You know what I mean? Or whatever, right? I'd probably have two sets of tires and rims for it. I'd have my winter set and I'd have my summer set, because winter tires are amazing. Like, we put them on the wife's car because she's got a minivan, and they are night and day. I mean, night and day. A good set of, it's softer rubber. It's made to grip the snow on ice and stuff. It's amazing. It's amazing what a good set of tires. The technology has come so far. So like if I had the van and I was worried about it, I would probably put a set of winter tires. But for the most part, we do a good all season. Now they got, what is it called? Is it the 5 peak or 3 peak they have on them, right? The one that's are made for, it's the peak, whatever it is on the tires. They're all season, but they have the 3 peak snowflake on them or whatever. Those are made for a little bit more winter. I'm starting to experiment with those a little bit. But what I'm getting at is that, they're really not a problem because you weigh them down so much. And you got to use some common sense. And for us, it's just not worth it. By the time you put a 4-wheel drive, for how much you little use it, and then you're dragging around that extra weight, you got all the moving parts. It doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? That's why you just, kind of look at the big dogs. I mean, they're always, they're service vehicles. And a lot of vehicles, I mean, you think about it, right? When I used to plow, right, for the city, for the DPW, I mean, their trucks aren't 4-wheel drive. They're dualies or tandems, right? And I mean, they just got so much weight in the back, and we're on the roads, go a little bit off road, but they hardly got stuck because there's just so much weight in them. You know what I mean? So, and like I said, you put a good set of snow tires on there. I mean, if you're really worried about it or you have a problem one year, but it's not that common. Like I said, the only time you get kind of, you get puckered on it a little bit is like if you got to go into a sandy situation, like a brand new build, and it's almost like one of those things like you shouldn't even be there, right? That was kind of something I had to learn. Like my one buddy, he used to work for a builder, and before they didn't backfill the garage, he was literally on like 12-foot ladders. That was just to do the bottom panel, and he'd stack the door. And I'm like, he goes, that's just how he was. And I mean, I remember I thought, I want to get with this guy. He's building a home like every month, just turning houses. And after I heard that, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad we didn't work for him. He goes, that's how I was. He's like, if we wouldn't do it, he'd just find somebody else. So I'm like, so he's like, yeah, we had 2 extension ladders on both sides of the door. We'd put bolts in the track, stack up the door. I'm like, in the dirt? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, no, No, no. And if you got good builders and stuff, they know how this stuff works because you need to have concrete there. You know what I mean? And so if there's concrete there, not saying always, but there's always a gravel driveway put in now because they know they got to have electricians in there, they got to have plumbers in there. Like if you're going there and you're like seeing that kind of stuff, you're on the wrong timing. You know what I mean? Like you're like, yeah, you need to fix your. I ain't doing this till you get your road fixed. You know what I mean? Like this is ridiculous. Now, obviously, with snow and stuff like that, things are a little bit out of your control, but you just have to really watch the weather. You know, that's the big thing. Watch the weather. You know, I've had it some days. When I was kind of running the show, I'd shut the business down. You know, I'd just be like, we ain't working today. I'd call up certain people, and so that's why I was always really important. I watched the weather very, 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 and I still watch the weather very closely because just activities outside, work, road conditions. It's just ingrained into me. So it's that whole thing I tell you about, like when you're running a ship and you're the captain, and you're watching your crew and stuff, and you're going, whoa, I ain't letting them go to work in this crap. You know what I mean? They're almost about ready to get washed over. Come on in, boys. Take a break. We'll wait a couple hours or we'll take today off. You just have to make that judgment call because sometimes if you try to fight Mother Nature and then all it takes is for them to smash that vehicle up or they're stuck and every vehicle is getting stuck and you got 1 or 2 or 3 tow bills that day, you're just going, man, we didn't make no money. You know what I mean? Like all we did today was spin our wheels. That was stupid. Kind of weird. We're talking about snow. Got the shirt on. And snow plows. Snow plow. Must be the shirt. What's up? Okay, so Marlon says, how long have you had your own garage door business? 18 years. 18 years. Remember, I don't remember the exact date. Started May, I think it was May 26th is when we had it finalized or something like that. It was right around May. It was right at the end of May or something. May something of 2006. And it was, like I said, 2006. Dude, let me tell you about 2006. 2006 was amazing. All you had to do was breathe, right? You go in somewhere and you wear a shirt, right? Or you just whisper it. And people were like, what? What do you do? It's kind of like when like the cough syndrome happened, the COVID, happened. And everybody was running for the TP. It was like that. It was like if you were a TP supplier or a manufacturer, you were like a millionaire, and you just couldn't even supply enough. You couldn't even provide enough. And people were just running to the hills, man. Well, then a few years in, right? 2007 hit, 2004, or not 2007, 2008. Things went downhill pretty fast. And I think we could be roughly somewhere around there right now. I don't know what's going to happen, but are they going to dump it on the other guy, when this stuff comes through? I don't know. But I just know, I don't know. I just want you to be prepared, prepared, but not scared. And you just, what's Mr. Tanner got? What's Tanner after you? Oh, I got to plug the battery in here. Kevin, after I've been stuck a few times. After I've been stuck a few times, I learned what conditions you can drive. Always walk along lanes first and other approaches that look sketchy. There you go. That's very true. I'm going to go over to the other. I think there's a charger over here. Plus, I gotta get a little refill. A little parched today for some reason. It's one of those days. Just kind of off. I don't know how to explain it. Body's a little achy. Like I said, that city water. Just makes you feel like a new person. Let's see what we got here. Holy cow, this one got bent. Where do I set, Now that I got a charger, what do I do? We can do this. I just can't bump the table and knock you over. Focus. All right. Let's see what we got here. Appreciate you guys being here. Like I say, you got any questions, go for it. I'm here to serve you. Tanner says, I do agree. You can get away without 4x4. But here in Iowa, we get to farms and egg buildings, fields, gravel roads. It gets pretty hairy sometimes. I did spend the coin and did the 4-wheeler conversion on the van. And I don't know if it jumped. And it was a saved my butt, my ass. This is multiple times this year. Totally worth it, in my opinion. I would, I've never gotten out of a few jobs, and I've almost slid into a piece of machinery with rear-wheel drive. And so you know, and that's the thing is like it all depends. See, like I remember like when I drove out to we were going out to Arizona and stuff, and like I drove out to we were going through like Colorado and stuff like that. Holy moly! Like for us around here, mostly everything's flatland, but we have a lot of trees and stuff. So I don't want to say it's just like total flatland, but we don't have a lot of hills. And when we drove out there in the minivan and it was loaded down, I told myself, I was like, I will never come out here again without a big monster V8 or a diesel, because the hills. And I mean, we're going up hills and the old van's just working its hiney off, downshift, and I think I'm gonna blow the transmission out of this. So it just all depends on where you're at. You know, for like us around here, like if like for Tanner, exactly, like you're going into these ags, you got a drifting going on. You got long driveways that are like the farmers. See, around here, we don't have long driveways. Everything's right next to the road. We have around here, our plow system we just have an amazing system. I don't know if it's just Michigan. And like I said, but like I said, we don't have to go down roads. You know, we don't have to go down, like our plow people are out. Like if it's like 24 hours, the third shifters at nighttime, they just come out and whale it, you know. And I would know because I used to drive the trucks, and the equipment we get is amazing. I mean, they just get it cleaned up. Like you might as well just call it a day and like the next day go. And for us, it's all cleaned up. But like I said, it's all different where you're at, you know. So it's a big, you know, it just all depends. You're right. Not every day should be worth the risk. That's kind of it. You know what I mean? Like for us around here, it's, you know, and I've told Cap, if I know a big storm or something's coming, I'm like, hey, you better plan for something close. And he's really good about it. He'll be like, I already got it covered. He's like, we're going to go like 5 miles away. We're going to be in a shop, in a building, and it's heated and everything. And I'm like, there you go. Like do PMs, it's just not worth it. You know what I mean? And typically within, at least over here in Michigan, within like 24 hours, like if we get a big snowstorm the next day, people already got their plows their driveways plowed, they get their snow blowers out. It can be eliminated too. Something to think about. Like you should call, like if you have a big snowstorm or something, you call. Cause I did hear one this year, I think it was. And, one of the guys didn't want to go down the driveway. He was worried about getting stuck. I was like, I'd do it. We'll just call you a tow truck. But he decided not to. It was a day that was kind of right still on the fence. We probably should have just, you know, I don't know if called it a day or just orchestrated it, basically. Said, you know what, we're going to do this because there's going to be kickbacks. Justin Johnson, old enough to drive. I like that. So did you buy your boys pizza when they feel sick on their wife's food? No, I don't think we don't do too much of that. Oops, hit something. Tristan, how's it got on here? It says, have a great one, Dave. You're awesome, man. Next one, take care, everybody. Smash the like button. Awesome, appreciate that, Tristan. Tanner, look into the 4-wheel drive van, man. Heck yeah. Oops, she's a little tipsy. Good luck, Tristan. They don't actually make them stock. You have to have them done by a shop. Can find all-wheel drive vans, I'm pretty sure. I think you got to go to, it sounds like, I swear I just seen one the other day. I think the Ford they're considered the Ford Transit. They're the bigger ones. I think I seen one. I swear I was just driving behind one yesterday. Yesterday I pulled up, and I was thinking. The reason I was thinking was because I was thinking of Josh, and he said his was rear wheel drive, and I was like, oh, I thought they were all front wheel drive. And then I pulled up one, and I'm thinking about Josh, and I went that one says all wheel drive, AWD. I'm like, that one's all wheel drive, and I thought, I wonder if it's all wheel drive. Like, can you at least select it, or is it just all wheel drive automatic? Like, it's that whole. I don't like that stuff. I like to be able, like, when I'm locked in, I'm locked in. I don't like that the computer knows or it's going to try to trick me. I don't like that stuff. Vans, I'm pretty sure Ford just came out with a 20 to 23 contractor van of some kind. This is, I got a 2000 Express Extender Max. That's a pretty sick vehicle too. I ain't gonna lie, Tanner. I love that vehicle. That vehicle is really nice. I spent about 18 on the 4-wheel drive conversion, so you really need way out if you really need it. Yeah, and that's a good point. You know, it's like, obviously I think Tanner's van is really sweet. He showed me pictures of it. It's a beautiful van. But it's difficult, and obviously I'm assuming for Tristan, it's probably his own, and he's what do you call it, chuck in a truck is kind of what I say, and but like for me, it's, how do you explain it? It's kind of like giving your kid a knife, and they're like a really young age. You know what I mean? It's like, like, here you go. Here's a tool that could destroy you. You know what I mean? And so that's why I'm always kind of like, because you know how it is. Like 4-wheel drive, you got to respect 4-wheel drive. And when you bury a front axle and you bury a rear axle because you just keep digging, she gets to it's a pull to get it out. So it's just one of those things. And then you got to think about, like, okay, if you're gonna spend, let's say you spend the 18, right? What if they smash this thing up? Is insurance going to cover this? Is it, you spent that money? I mean, there's a whole list of things that goes on with this. So you're always trying to mitigate, it's kind of like that guy with the garage doors that had the car wash. And I'm like, you need this door, and it's $10,000. And he's like, I'm not spending $10,000. He's like, Dave, employees and customers, he's like, they smash into these all the time. He's like, I'm not spending $10,000 on a garage door for a customer smash it. Then I got to make an insurance claim, and then my insurance premiums go up. And I'm like, he's like, I'm going to spend $2,000, and this door is going to last, whatever, 5 or 10 years. And he's like, and you're going to come rip it out, put another one in. He's like, and it's going to get smashed. It's going to need sections, and the sections are way cheaper. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, you kind of got a point. Like, I get it. Has there ever been a job you could not figure out how to fix? That's a good question. I had one. I'm trying to think of why. I forget which one it was, but I was really close. I was getting my electrician buddy. Like, nobody wanted to entertain this job. The one I think of the worst for me was the FedEx one. I got way in over my head with barrier gates and a slide gate, and it was a huge, massive building. But I don't think I've ever had any job that I basically was like, go fly a kite, or I can't figure this out, or you're going to have to call somebody else, or you're going to have to call my competition. I don't think I've ever had a job. It's one of those things to me is like, if I can't figure it out that night, I basically almost don't sleep. I'm going to be on YouTube University. I'm going to be on Google. I'll be making some phone calls. But I had a couple that I remember that weren't too long ago, and it was a bad situation. And like I said, this is why you got to really watch what you get into, right? And that's why the old telephone was really important. But I had what it was. I'll kind of give you a rough idea on it. But it was a fence contractor. And here's the thing: they were working. The fence contractor was working for a pot marijuana growery, whatever, right? They put fence around this place. They put up the gates. They got the gate operator work and everything. Blah 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 blah. They use the same vendor I do. And they're calling me kind of out of the blue. So originally it was an electrician that knew me, and he's like, "Hey man," he's like, "I think this is more your department. We got it running and stuff, but like this is your department." I'm like, "Oh yeah, yeah, yeah." I'm like, "I get that, I get that." So I'm like, "You can give him my number." And as I started talking to them, I could tell this stuff was not adding up. And like there's a kid that works there at the fence company, and he's telling me, he goes, "Hey man," he goes, "Yeah," he goes, I'm pretty sure it needs a circuit board." And I'm like, "Okay." He goes, "But," he's asking me these kind of questions, and I said, "Okay." So I said, here's the thing. I said, "Get a circuit board for it. You use the same exact vendor. It'd be like Amazon, right? We both go to Amazon. We're looking at the same item." I said, "So go to the vendor." I said, "And get that." And I said, "Install it." I said, "It's all plug and play. It's not like you got to be a genius on this." And I said, and I said, "Here's the thing." I said, "You're the one that got this running." I'm like, "You got this running first, right? Like, how long has it been running?" He's like, "Oh, I don't know. It's probably been up, running 6, 8 months." I'm like, "Okay, so it's been running for 6, 8 months. Why has it failed?" Well, then he starts telling me how they've been messing with it, and he's like, "Here's the thing, man." He's like, we just need to get this thing running because we're doing another job for them, and they won't pay us on this job." And I'm like, "Bro, bro, I'm not getting involved in this. Like, we're not playing this game. I'm not. Why would I buy a circuit board that's 6, 8, $1,200, whatever? I'm gonna put it in my account. I'm gonna install it for you. I might not get paid. I'm gonna be the mediator. I'm going to be your employee now for a problem." And so I went up there one day to look at it. And of course, he was mixing Linear with LiftMaster, LiftMaster keypads with Linear gate operator. And I'm like, this is already a bad situation. And the customer already wiped out the pole, so the wires are hanging out. And I'm like obviously the customer hit that, so that's like one problem right there. Yeah, but so I went up there, right? I went up there. I did the nice thing. I went up there, and I'm like, I told him, I said, "Look, I'm not going to charge you. I don't want $1. And the reason I don't want $1 is because I don't want this to be a contract. I don't want you to be, well, we paid you $50 or we paid you $500. Nope. I'm just going to come out of here the kindness of my heart. I'm going to look it over. I'm going to kind of evaluate, and I could already tell. First we get up there, the cabinet door on the gate operator is open. It's darn near slammed to the ground. I would never do a gate operator that way. I would never slam it to the ground. I mean, the grass is growing up by it, and you can see somebody cut the grass and blew all the shavings in it. I'm like, whoa, what kind of place are we at here? That somebody obviously, and there's buildings around. They're walking between buildings. Like the gate cabinets open with chains and electron. Like, who does this? Who does this? Like, and you could tell it wasn't like it just opened up 20 minutes ago. Like, it's been open for a couple weeks. So, like I said, it's so important to listen to that phone and see what's going on and slow down and just be like, "Hey, I'll see what I can do. I can put you on the list. I don't," or just flat out tell them, say, "I don't think this is you call my competition." But no, it's normally, I don't think there's anything I can't remember anything that we didn't do. But I remember being in a lot of stressful situations. Gate operators that somebody tore the wires out that I didn't know how they went back. Oh, man, probably lost money on that. You can find some already converted vans, Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace, but they are priced accordingly. Yes, they are. On those vans, man, they sure are priced accordingly. I've looked at them too. They're all like lifted up. They look nice. I was like, I'll get a 4-wheel drive, which, hey, it's really kind of like, it really is nice. You know what I mean? Like you basically got a truck, you know what I mean? And so you can get through stuff. I mean, it is nice. Scissor lift, you got to pull a scissor lift. For sure. I think if we were doing probably more ag, I'd be more interested like in the truck and stuff but we just don't, like I said, we don't go off road. Like our driveways are what, like 100 feet? I don't know. It's too much, but again, here in Iowa, Great Lakes, he says sometimes it helps when you have a nice overdone work rig. People here are sometimes all about what you have, so went for it. But I'm also a diesel guy, truck, vans, anything nice. They can't figure out because they were all smoking dope. What's up, extended warranty 24/7? I'm so glad I got in contact with you. He says, I've got some exciting news about the car's extended warranty. Oh, snap. Well, just remember, I don't drive a car. I'm Amish, and I ride a horse. So I'm sorry. No. The customer was smoking. I ran into the pole. Man, sounds like a job I would not want to get within 100 yards of. It was weird too because the guy, I didn't really know what to do with the guy because I think they were smoking too, and so they were kind of like two peas in a pot. And I don't know, man. I don't know. It was just it was not a good situation. It was not a good situation, and I get up there, right, and so I get up to this job, and I'm the guest, right? That's kind of how this works. Like I look at it like I'm the guest. This was your install, your project, your whole. This is your baby. This is your ship, right? And I get up there, and I drove a medium truck. I want to say it wasn't my full service vehicle because it was a hike away. I want to say it was an hour and how long is that? Where it was at? That's about an hour and 15-minute drive one way. Ah, are you okay? Oh, you guys fell over. I'm so sorry. Try to do better. Anyways, so I drive up there and I think I drove a different truck that wasn't so loaded down. I get up there. I get up there early. I think he was running a little bit late, the kid or whatever, you know. I don't want to say his kid, probably my age, maybe a little younger, whatever. And I see him come down the dirt road. Right, I'm sitting there waiting. I mean, this place got surveillance everywhere. I'm surprised I already don't have somebody out with like AK-47s, like gonna, what are you doing here? Because it's out in the country, like way out in the country, out in the sticks. And so he shows up, and he's driving like a Ford Focus, and I'm like, "Are you serious? Like, he doesn't have a service truck. Like, he don't have like some tools or like, and I thought, okay, maybe we're doing a keypad. You don't really need that much. And it wasn't because he's driving like a Ford Focus. I just kept thinking, oh man, I hope he's got some tools, because I was really light that day. And I tried to, I made this very clear, like, hey, I'm not going to charge you. Like, don't expect a lot. I'm just up here to kind of evaluate. And so I go up there. Oh, since you fell over, it came unplugged. No, it is good. We're good. And so I'm up there, and I meet him and everything. He's dressed in like street clothes. And so I go up there and we start talking to whoever's in charge type thing. It's just like the whole situation stunk. Well, anyway, some time went on, and he's like, I deleted him. Like I just kept calling me on this stuff, and I'm like, I just blocked him. And he's like, the next time, and he's like, man, he's like, I've been trying to call you, and I'm like, yeah, I don't know, my phone's been kind of weird, like. I don't know what you're going to do. And because then when I left, he goes, so that's the problem. And I said, I'd start out with a keypad. I said, it's smucked up. I said, I'm guessing the keypad's not functioning. I said, because everything was working. And I said, but now the keypad has been hit. Like it wasn't even comprehending. Like somebody hit this with a vehicle as they turned. It was all working until it got hit. And then somebody's fingers have been in here. The customer's fingers have been in here, supposedly. And I'm like, he goes, when we get the new one, he goes, you're going to come up? And I said, probably not. I said, you got it working. I said, all it is color coded. You just plug them back in where they got to go. And I would have never put a LiftMaster keypad on a linear. I was like, you already got, you're mixing oil and water here, dude. Like, I mean, how do you get tech support? The linear keypads are just so much more bigger, robust. You got a lot more access. What am I going to do? I love it, Tanner. It says, can we pay in weed? And the thing is, like, I don't have nothing against people, whatever. You want to do your stuff, that's fine. But, I think just like alcohol, you know what I mean? Too much of it can do some damage. Man, I had a guy that was an Elkie here. I mean, he come in the next day and he's like, I'm like, you all right? I mean, eyes just all bloodshot. And he's like, I'm fine. And I'm like, maybe you need to try a night, like, just drink some water. Don't drink. Like, because you come in, I mean, it's just too much. You can't do that. We get what in here? Iowa, he says it's not legal anything. Wow, that's cool. I don't think, but you get those customers, some contractors who like, hey, you want to hit, or you want some of this when I'm there for a install or service call. I don't know these people from Adam. He says crazy, not for me. Says it is 5 a.m. somewhere. I'll take a bush light. Yeah, it's kind of weird. I've learned over the years with some age. I heard some booming. I thought somebody was here. But what I've noticed, and this is, it's one of those things, it's 100% my opinion. But when people are on different forms of drugs, let's say, I've noticed what happens is that they become. I was talking to my brother-in-law about this, and he kind of reassured me that he said you become numb. You know what I mean? And I got some stuff I'll take for just like pain, some Advil and stuff like that. And it is, I understand like how you can, not to that extreme, right? At least I don't think, but you become numb. And I'll see these people that are, same age, maybe a little younger or whatever. And they're just, vroom, 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 watch this. And I mean, they're lifting up stuff, doing stuff. And I'm just going like, whoa, man, like, man, oh, like my shoulder, oh, my back, man, like I can't move like that. I got to use leverage. I got to use, I got to be smart. I got to be, basically somewhat nice to my body. Like I can't, and like later on time tells, that you'll find out that they were doing something or they do stuff or whatever. And it's like, oh, well, they're basically under the influence and they're numb, you know what I mean? And I think it's kind of sad, honestly, because sometimes, it's one of those things like you're probably doing more damage than you realize. And I don't know, you know what I mean? It's just, I get it, man. It's tough work that we all do. If you're in the trades or, you know, yeah, I get it. Can do with anything, probably deal with anything. Yeah, I think that's it, Tanner. I think you're right, man. I just think it's, like I said, I've come across quite a few people in my life, and I've had some work for me even, that I'd just be like, man, how do they like have that stamina? Hey, and they're just like they'll start doing concrete or something, smashing out concrete, or it'll just be whatever trades they're doing or something, and I'm just like, whoa, man, like what are you drinking? You got like Red Bull? Man, I need some of that because, man, I just can't do that, because it's like I'll be like, oh man, I'm tearing myself up, I'm all hurting. So you just, meth, yeah. That could be. I don't really know. Maybe Tanner knows. I don't know what meth makes people kind of do. I guess supposedly one of the guys, I found out later after he was gone and I talked to his wife, she found out he was doing cocaine. And I thought, well, maybe that, and it was really weird because like, it's tough when you got, it's tough when you're dealing with employees and stuff, right? Because it like for me, I got such a big heart. I want everybody to do well. I want them to be happy. I want them to be safe. I want them to have just a good life. You know what I mean? But like this one guy, I mean, he just was not. He was just always. Things just never added up, and it just became a constant, like little things, not nothing too major. Customers were calling me. The one customer, that's kind of what threw me over the edge with them, when they said, hey, I don't ever want this guy back at my house. He was acting, I think we're going to have a fight. And I thought, there's no reason you should ever be like that. You know what I mean? Just things, I told him about his truck and stuff. I said, hey, man, why is somebody coming to get in your truck? And, what does that matter? and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, because I'm like, it's happening like twice a week. Like somebody's getting dropped off, they're taking your truck, they're doing something. I don't know what you're like, and then you're at the end of the day, I mean, he was getting all confrontational. I'm talking to him about it. And I'm like, I'm not trying to argue with you. I'm not trying to get I'm telling you this is a problem because at the end of the day, when I leave or I'm out doing service calls still, you're calling me at 4 or 5 o'clock saying, "Hey man, my truck didn't come back or something, or somebody's using it. Can I take the work truck?" And I don't really ever have a problem with that, but it's when I'm sitting down at home with my family eating dinner, trying to unwind myself, and you're calling me going, "Hey man, can I take the truck to the bar?" And you're like, "No." For one, I don't know if you're gonna lock it. I don't know if the doors on the top are locked that good. I don't need that problem. Like we don't need to be like I don't need you the next day to be like, "Oh man, like I can't find my Sawzall," and I have to go, "Well, is it because you're at the bar and somebody stole it? Or did you leave it at the last job?" Or okay, I say yes, and now 10, 11 o'clock at night, I'm getting a phone call from a sheriff saying, "Hey, we got your vehicle here. It's in the ditch," or you know, I don't need that right now. It was a temporary solution to a problem, which was to get you home, and respect that, and then now bring it back. So it's always a weird confrontation over that stuff. It just becomes I just certain people just they would flip out, man. It was really sad. And so I started realizing when there was a lot of times I told myself if I don't understand it probably comes down to drugs. You know what I mean? If it's not making sense to me, it's probably drugs. So that's what I veer towards right now, where if I go, things don't add up consistently. Because I found out that, when I was hanging out with more people, family and stuff like that, that I knew were clean, I realized they're more stable. They don't have these peaks, this like weird emotion. But the people that were doing the motions, man, would just, what? That's not what, and it's like, hey, I was just going to try to talk to you like an adult. I wasn't trying to be confrontational. Just man to man, man to woman, what, like, dun, 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 there we go. Holy cow, I didn't know that. Iowa is the meth capital of the U.S. Wow. A small town by, is it Waterloo? Okay. Cedar Falls, crazy story there. A book about this bunch of meth heads that are pretty much themselves. Wow. I think it's because we got kind of like we got like a mini Detroit kind of over here. We call it's Muskegon Heights, and there's a lot of stuff, man. Like I've been realizing like twice now. I think we had one yesterday. I think there was one today. We had what was it? Felony. I think there were felony stops. One was a big speed chase. I think the other one didn't go too far today, at least that one. But man, I tell you what, I think it's getting goofy, and it's kind of sad because when you start thinking about that with those high speed chases, it's like you got to be, that's that whole thing I talk about with the service and traveling farther because the more time you're on the road, hey, what, anything, what I mean? Could you imagine, that's one of your workers or that's your wife or that's yourself and you're on the road, man. It's a lot of liability. I'm watching a lady in a construction zone, today, even though it's supposedly Michigan now, no phones, and she's just totally on it. She's zoned out, coming straight at me. I have to veer off to make sure she doesn't hit me. It's getting nutty with it. It really is. Like I said, I don't think it's going to get any better because I think society sometimes doesn't teach a lot of people, how to better improve and all that kind of stuff. It's kind of, the money's not going as far. People are doing more stuff that they shouldn't be doing. So I don't know. Well, it seems like in my 41 years of existence, it hasn't seemed like it's really changed. So, anywho, I think I'm gonna get off here and see too many questions. Tanner, I always appreciate all the questions, everything you do for the channel. And is it Wilbur? Wilbur, if you're still here, like I said, shoot me some emails, anything you need. Ben, thanks for the email. I'll see what I can do to help you out or any questions and stuff on there. Like I said, I'm gonna head out. It's time to get your sleep. You got to get your sleep. So, a self-driving Tesla any day. Yeah, I'd have to agree with the self-driving. Hey, just look at the old market, right? The old economy right now. Electric cars aren't doing so well. Imagine that. All of it was government funded basically, and they're not doing so hot, are they? People aren't wanting them. The prices of them are coming way down. The used ones they're almost giving them away. But it is what it is. You know what I mean? It's just people will vote with their wallets. And I was just listening to a guy today that he said something about back in 1950. Just to leave you with this, he said back in 1950, for some reason, he had a tour. His grandpa did, right? His grandfather, and his grandfather got along with whoever was at the GM. They were doing the thing or something. He says, "I want to show you something." So I took him in this back room that was a hazardous, do not enter, everything, right? They had carburetors at the time that he said these carburetors on these certain motors, and they had stashes of them, will get 50 miles per gallon. And I thought, that wouldn't surprise me. I thought, every year they're always trying to improve, right? And they probably could jump there, but they don't want to. What the point is there was lobbyists that keep, the big oil guys and everything, they keep it suppressed, because they want to sell all that oil and stuff, right? That they tell us that's buried so far, and it's dinosaurs and everything else. When I remember this one guy told me, he says, you can't destroy matter. You can put water in your hand, you can crush it. Doesn't mean it just goes away. It leaves the earth. And I thought, I never thought about that. So for evaporating it, and maybe the rain and everything collects it, and it goes down so far. But what if? What if? Just some stuff to think about. You just never know, right? Did we ever go to the moon? I don't know. See the strings? I don't know. All right, we'll see you guys. Take care. If you got anything, shoot me an email, shoot me a text, send those pictures. I love them. And we'll see you